United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Commissioner, how would you lead us in invocation?
Father God, we just want to thank you and praise you for who you are. Thank you for the love, mercy that you've shown each one of us. Father, we thank you for the nation we live in. We just thank you for the opportunities we have to serve. And Father, today as we hold this meeting, Father, we just pray that you give us wisdom, your knowledge, and understanding of the things that are happening. Father God, may your will be done in all things. We thank you for our Lord Jesus, for the salvation that we have through him. May you be honored and glorified today in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right, little housekeeping. We're going to do this meeting as we always start out with open comments. You'll get 3 minutes for anybody that would like to speak. This is your time to speak on anything that's not on the agenda. Or if you would like to go ahead, sorry, our microphone, we have one microphone that we will make sure. But please come up and speak if you'd like. Like I said, it can be anything that's on the agenda or also anything that's not on the agenda. We try to stay very close to our agenda and on those topics. So if anyone would like to come up, I can call out names and you can wave or not. I'm also going to say in the portion when we get through most of our business here, we will go into executive session. We're going to meet an executive session off here so everyone can stay if they want to. You can visit, you can talk. I know there's some Fermi people and some other people here that might want to visit. Give you all that opportunity then. What else am I forgetting? Good.
That name and where they're from.
Yeah. So, I'm actually, and if you don't want to speak and you just wanted to sign up, that's fine. I'll just call out some names as we go through it. I'm going to mix it up. So let's go back. Jennifer Elsing, would you like to speak today?
I'm here. I was
Yes.
hoping to speak later.
You come late, you get signed up first. Please step forward because of our microphones, like I said, we'd like to get everything.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm Jennifer Smith Elson, Panhandle, Texas, and I didn't have a prepared speech. I was hoping to be closer to the end. My family's property that we've owned for virtually 100 years is directly across the fence from the Fermi Data Center project. And I think what we find most concerning is that we were unaware of this project until we started getting phone calls. Hey, we want to buy your property for speculation, not for sale. We want to, surveyors are going to come on your property tomorrow. Why? Why do we need surveyors on our property? It's not for sale. And we would have people call up and say, well, we want to run water trucks on your property. And to be fair, all the people that have met with my folks have been very polite, but we didn't know what was happening until it seems like it was too late. Where was our public meeting to let us know as a community that this enormous change to our community was happening? This, to me, feels like it's rather late for us to find out because construction has already begun. There's not a day that goes by that my folks, who are the property owners at this point, but they're 86 years old, so, it's my property too. Gas lines, water lines, utility lines, all of them have been, proposed that they were gonna run directly across our property. And We had no knowledge of it until an engineer showed up and said, this is what we're going to do. And so this is where our concern as a family is. I mean, we are concerned, of course, about the environment. My folks were leaders years ago when Pantex was going to expand, and to make sure that we have environmental oversight, that our land, our water, our air, that all of those things are protected for our future. And, last but not least, certainly not least, the fact that we live in the country because we like the country, and having a giant multinational corporation come in and build enormous buildings with enormous utility usage, bright lights, sound, power, all of those things directly across the fence, directly impacts our quality of life out there in the country. Thank you.
Kim Benson from Amarillo.
Kim Benson, Amarillo, Texas. I'm here representing Amarillo, but also the Carson County citizens. Sounds like to me that the Carson County citizens were not notified. So I'm really here to ask a statement of fact. Did the Carson County ever receive that a notice which would fall under the 31.1611? And that's give Carson County citizens a notice and opportunity to decide whether to agree to or to oppose this Fermi project. To date, there's no record of such notice or hearing or local consent that I can find or other citizens can find. So, statement of fact, gentlemen, can you give me that?
We'll have our council address it here after a while.
So, I'm just here to request that you respect, and give that to the citizens, and give them an opportunity to be part of this decision, because it does affect them. Obviously with this lady speaking, how it is affecting, I'm sure there's other citizens here today that's going to speak to that. I think you should give them a voice. Amarillo citizens, we feel that we've not had a voice in this matter. So, thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Jason Green.
how much water will a data center use each day, and how does that compare to the total usage that we use? So, we all know that it consumes massive quantities of water. If a drought occurs, will they reduce their water usage? Or does that only impact us? Can the company guarantee that it won't have a disparate impact on the groundwater stream of wells to affect the cooling systems? Let's see. How much additional electricity will this facility require, and who pays for the power grid upgrades needed to supply it? And if energy prices rise because of the new demand, we see higher utility bills. Same thing with water. Increased requirement for water, we see that increased cost. If the company is receiving tax breaks, how much of the ordinary residents are effectively covered in the annual revenue? How many of the promised jobs are temporary construction roles versus long-time work positions?
I'm sorry, I think that was from the last one. Go ahead, I think you got one that.
I got you. How much of the economic benefit comes from one-time spending rather than actual job growth? The company leaves or upgrades elsewhere within the next 10 years, who pays to decommission or clean up the site? Has the company provided a plan for sourcing water responsibly without negatively impacting the water? What is your drought contingency that makes operation unsustainable? How will the constant noise, lighting, or heat output affect nearby homes and wildlife? Let's see. That's about it. Sorry to drop it all on you.
You're fine, thank you, sir. NBC Right. Emerald. Excuse me.
Thanks for letting me speak. I wanted to take a moment to address the matter of water on behalf of several hundred people who've been vocal and active against Fermi's exploitation of our government, people, and resources. We ask you to take this vote, and hold public meetings where we can all hear Fermi's project, and what we need for our community. If there truly would benefit us, the people of Pantex, then slow it down to include the information, will not harm anyone. We've been vocal to you about our concerns, and of course, we're in the water issue a lot, especially not being any more questions. We don't have to guess what data centers bring to communities, we can just ask our neighbors, so we did. I have a fact sheet with me, and if anyone else wants access to that, we have it, I know, 2005. Texas has the most expensive data subsidy program in the country, it sells and use tax exemption for data centers cost the state $1 billion in 2025 alone. Fermi will most likely benefit from the subsidy. This data center, approved last week in Tampa was for $3 billion for the tax payment. Fermi would also avoid approximately $16 billion in state taxes if the entire investment of $300 billion materializes. These funds should go instead of fixing infrastructure, supporting local healthcare, schools. To put it in perspective, the SNAP benefits were threatened to lose due to the government shutdown, impacting 3.5 million Texans, is $614 million. The subsidies, the investment zone this court approved in August allows this corporation to apply for property tax breaks, which means they're asking to pay none or limited property taxes for 10 years. Subsidy agreements also set job, worker wage, and investment requirements for the company, though we're yet to see any of those proposed agreements for public inspection. While water issues have been heavily discussed, with one of the silliest arguments being we're already wasting a lot of water on farming, Tyson, and cattle, so we may as well use it here too. Well, I would like to know that Fermi has said that they'd be happy to buy up as much land as they need to circumvent government approval for this water, which is a bold way to announce yourself as a bully with no respect for governing bodies or public opinion for natural resource usage. We're definitely not asking questions about how true or false the promise to bring jobs here. 3,000 to 5,000 jobs is a huge industry compared to the 400 or so Carson County citizens that work for Pantex, right? But there are no official details of if those would be permanent or temporary construction jobs, or if those are actual company obligations or projections. Texas requires data centers to create 20 jobs to qualify for the state tax breaks. I highly recommend that we look into how Amazon and Google have skirted the hiring numbers they promise through subsidy agreements. Our ag sector is threatened by data center developments. It's done by driving up the price and availability of farmland and diverting water needs for irrigation. As the state privately.
Please wrap it up.
Okay. Sorry. Listen, if they're here deeply because they care about Texans, they would prioritize good communication, not secrecy and threats. It's dystopian, spend take out tens of millions on a facility that takes up the same amount of space as Border, Texas, while Carson County has a 12% food insecurity rate.
Thanks. Kathy Green.
Good morning, thank you, Councilman and Councilwoman. My name is Cassie Green, I'm an Amarillo citizen. And I would like to agree with Tim that in Amarillo, we feel like we've been blindsided by Fermi America Matador project. We haven't been able to weigh in or even be heard. And I ask that you don't do that to your Carson County citizens. You know, this is about a tax break that we're going to give a multi-million-dollar tech company. And, you know, I'm thinking of America, where we have the slogan, ask not what I can do, what my country can do for me, but what can I do for my country? Let's use that towards Fermi. Why are we seeing what we can do for Fermi, but rather what Fermi can do for us? And as far as what Fermi is doing for us as a region, as an area, they're taking from us. They're taking our water, they're taking our land, and so I just don't feel like they need a tax break. Also, definitely, please hold off until Carson County can weigh in this citizen. Thank you.
Thank you. Misty Collier.
Hello, I am from Amarillo, Texas. I know that I'm not part of this community, but I do fight for the citizens across the board. My concerns with this project is the contamination of the water. I could go into that further, but I'm not gonna do that. I work for carestexas.org, I'm a director. So what we do is we sell microbes we have a vendor that sells microbes for water that's been contaminated. So if for some reason your water did get contaminated, we can come in and for millions of dollars, we can clean that water for you, millions of dollars, okay? That's what I came here to say about the water contamination. But what I'd really like to say is for the people. We are here to talk about you giving them the land. I feel like a big company comes in with billions of dollars into this county, this small county, and they tell you what to do. And they expect for you to give them the land. And what is it gonna do for your citizens? So all I'm gonna ask you today, instead of giving them the land, I'm gonna ask you to ask for a fair price. And I know Fermi's not gonna agree with me, because they don't wanna pay for the land. But you're talking about your county and your citizens, which your citizens have placed you on this board to vouch for them, to be their defense. So all I'm gonna ask is that you ask for a fair price. And I have a fair price for you. Hold on. At $12,000 an acre, it's $72 million. And at $30,000, it's $176 million. Now what could your county do with that? A lot, right? And I understand, they're the big guys. And you may feel bullied, but I'm gonna ask you to make a stance for your citizens and not just for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm not gonna get this one right, but Cavazos?
Oh, no, I just signed up.
Oh, I appreciate that. Richard Floyd? Clint Walker?
Good morning, folks. I'm Clint Walker. A lot of the folks in this room might know me. Some of the folks don't. I am a citizen of Panhandle, Texas. I am a fifth generation person in this county. My family's been here since the late 1800s. I'm also in technology. I love the fact that everybody wants to talk about in here that we're having some big company come bully us. That's not the case. And Fermi has had their stuff out there in the public for more than a year now. So if you weren't paying attention, that's on you. And those of you that have come to our city and county wanting to say, well, we're getting our people pushed around, these gentlemen right here are some of the smartest people in our county, and they've done a great job for our county. We've elected them because they're that. They're business owners and farmers. They understand the process. The land that you think is being stolen is not being stolen. Texas Tech owned the land. Nothing else could be done on that land. It's right next to Pantex. You don't understand the politics, so you decide you're going to come over here to Carson County and you're going to try to tell us, well, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're doing with the water. That's just not true. Now, the technology side of this is massively important. The educational piece that Texas Tech is going to put in place is going to allow our kids to be able to have an opportunity to learn about artificial intelligence. These are not just data centers. You don't understand how a data center works differently from an AI data center. The AI data center is going to have millions and millions of chips in it. And those chips allow artificial intelligence to actually do its learning and its training. So there's a bunch of you in here that don't want Fermi here, but I do want them here. Thank you. My time's up.
Mike Fisher?
Sorry, it's not printed, it's on the last I'd like to ask a question for my time starts. Can I get a copy of the tax abatement agreement?
After signing?
Okay, so it hasn't been made public, right?
No.
Okay. Well, that's a big part of, I'm from Amarillo, and I'm not here to tell the citizens that you don't know anything, and you don't understand anything like this last gentleman. I've been in the software business for 20 years. I'm definitely tech friendly, and if this was transparent, I might be a fan of this, but I'm really not. And I think if we just follow the law, the agreement that you're talking about, how can a citizen come up here and speak on this agreement when nobody's seen it? How can they even speak against it or for it? So I'm just going to speculate, because that's what I do now, when I don't get the agreement. So let me do that. This thing says it's going to be $59 billion worth of it. So if we can see the agreement, maybe that agreement says we want an abatement for the first 50 years on the first $10 billion. So let's say that's the scenario, because I have to speculate. So let's pretend that NRC or the Department of Energy declines the power plant and declines the gas plant and the nuclear plant, because it's going to be placed next to the most dangerous thing in the world, which is a bomb factory. And the rules are pretty explicit that they're not going to be able to build this adjacent to that. But let's say that happens. So now we're down, each one of those reactors are about 10 billion apiece. That's 40 billion. So now we're down to 9. So how much is the gas plant worth? So say we're down to 8 billion. You give them a tax abatement on the first 20 billion or 10 billion for 50 years, you're never gonna see a dime. And why are we voting on this? They've already started construction. You can get the money. They ain't going nowhere. Why give them a discount? Get the money. I'm here for you guys. Get your money. Get the money for Panhandle. And they're not going anywhere. If you guys decline this, they're still gonna build. And as far as them being a bully, they came over to Amarillo and the CEO said, well, you guys don't approve this water, we're just gonna buy five, I forget the word. I already forgot it. Pivots. We're just gonna buy 5 pivots and we'll get the water ourselves. So you better sign it. That's the attitude they had there. And again, we didn't have the agreement. Nobody had the water agreement, just like you guys don't have today. And if it, according to the Open Meetings Act, if you guys approve this and somebody challenges it, and it's, because we can't see the agreement, it's obvious. And that's why I wanted it on the record.
I'm gonna give you 15 more minutes.
But if it's not done according to law, it can be overturned, and that's indefinite down the road. So I just want you to do it right, just like some of these, I think that's what everybody wants. We want it done right. I think that's why I'm here. I'm not here to talk down to anybody. I'm a technology guy. I love these, I love AI, all this stuff. But we gotta be above board. We have to make sure everybody has a chance to see everything. And we need another meeting after we get a chance to see the agreement, so we can maybe give you guys some ideas. Hey, I never thought of that. But thanks for your time. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Peggy Crow?
I wasn't gonna speak this morning, but listening to everyone, I guess I am gonna speak. I am a longtime citizen of Carson County, Panhandle specifically. Worked at Pantex for 42 years. So I am familiar with the nuclear industry. I am familiar with the land. Texas Tech does own a portion of the land. Clint, that's Department of Energy land, not Pantex. I'm not familiar with the agreement with Tech. I know that the Department of Energy sits next door. The security of that really bothers me. I've been to Pantex. I know the security. I know what we do out there. And that bothers me. What bothers me more is the depletion of our natural resources. We cannot manufacture water. We cannot protect our land properly already. And what are they doing to protect that? What are we going to do? I don't really know. I kept telling people that were asking questions about Fermi to me, oh, it's not going there. It's not going there. I don't think so. I don't think so. And all of a sudden, yeah, it is. So I think a little more research needs to be done. I do trust some of the people that are researching it. I know them personally, and they're very intelligent in the nuclear industry, and they know a lot about nuclear reactors. People, you need to be aware. You need to think. You need to think hard and long about what we're putting next door, okay? And I hope that everyone comes out on top, everyone. I wish no harm to anyone in this room, not the farmers, not the landowners, not the citizens of Panhandle, Whitebeard, Broome, and Skellytown, not Amarillo. What I wish is that we all come out on top, that we're blessed forever, that we live in a land that's free, that we have resources to provide for our children and our grandchildren and great-grandchildren and all. But we need to be cautious about what we live next door to. And that's what I hope that we all look to. And I hope that our commissioners here and our judge will think very cautiously. Do your research. Find the experts. Find the experts in the field and speak to them. Use your experts. We have them. We have them next door. Use them, because none of us are expert in every field. We know. Thank you for your time.
three that would like to speak. I've left them, sorry, I'm tying myself up. I left them at the last so they can respond or use their 3 minutes any way they want. Does anybody want to go first?
Hi, my name is Nate Nagelbauer and I'm here with Fermi. And I just want to say that we are listening very closely. We do want to be good neighbors. We want to make sure that we're communicating with everyone. We understand that early on we were not able to communicate in the way we wanted to. And we are doing everything possible to make sure that y'all have all of the relevant information. For concerns about water, I encourage everyone to go look at the detailed multi-hour presentation we gave in Amarillo the other day. And we're one of the jobs I've been working on right now is going through all the things that we want to do to communicate with the community. So this is a top priority for us. We are not trying to be flippant. We do care. My grandfather's a cattle rancher. I understand concerns about water because I know every time I got a text that there was 4/10 of an inch of rain growing up. So we're here to answer questions. If anyone wants to reach out to me, my email is nate@fermiamerica.com. And we're here to be good neighbors and good citizens alongside you all. Thank you.
Okay, yes, Charlie?
Good morning. Thank you all for hosting this.
Can I ask something? Okay.
It's his 3 minutes.
Oh.
You can ask him afterwards.
Okay.
Okay?
Glad to chat at all.
They promised to stick around.
I just wanted to know if they were executives or salesmen or.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you for that question. My name is Charlie Hamilton. I'm one of the co-founders of Fermi America. I grew up just right down the road from here in Matador, Texas. 744 people. Grew up farming peanuts, cotton, cattle. I understand water about as much. It's near and dear to our heart. I know we may sound like a big scary corporation, but I went to Texas Tech. My dad would whip my tail for not using water well. I'm a 6th generation Texan. My family's been here 135 years here in the Panhandle. I get that water is a concern. But I put it in proportion. We're talking about 1,700 gallons a minute. 1,700 gallons a minute, and we'll use a lot less during the winter. But how are we using the water? Well, we're using the water and it gets recycled 4 times. We're looking at recycling it up to 7 times. So it's about the equivalent of a large pit. And so we're being a very, very, very good steward. What I also heard is what we're going to do with the community. We've had numerous conversations and we have committed, and we're committed to being one of the best corporate citizens in this region. We heard that being participating in the first responder program for EMS and others, and the sheriff, and we're glad to put in our program share to also support the county. I know that is really, really, really important. And I'll just close with, we're fighting a race in America. What people don't realize, we're fighting a race for intelligence. And the goal is who can put on the most power the quickest. We haven't done the best job at communicating with our neighbors. We've tried really, really hard. I just spoke to Mr. Hart this morning, which is across the street. And I'll give you my cell phone number. My cell phone number is 806-789-4300. Call me at any time, and I'll return your calls that night. If you have concerns, guys, I want to hear about it. And we'll solve them together. This is going to be one of the biggest job creators for the region. Texas Tech is our partner here. And Texas Tech, is going to put a research facility right here in Carson County. We're going to have professors and a school teaching about this future of intelligence right here. Rather than our kids, I have 2 boys, having to move to Houston or Dallas, they're going to be able to have world-class jobs right here. I get that talk is cheap. I completely get that. We're putting our foot forward saying we're willing to commit to being a great corporate citizen here in the county. And will it always be perfect? No. But we're gonna work to our best ability to work with you all to solve any issues that come up. Thank you for your time.
one question. This gentleman said that they've known about this for a year. When did y'all know about this?
May 19th, I can tell you, because that's when.
It hadn't been a year.
Yeah, oh,
I did.
I have seen information on Fermi and their project that they're looking for almost a year.
Citizens hadn't known about this for a year.
That's because they just didn't see it on the internet. It was out there.
Exactly.
And are you from Carson County or Panhandle?
I'm from Emerald.
All right, but that, you guys have that discussion later. Quick,
Can I speak?
yes.
My family has lived here in this county for a long, long time. We are very smart people in this county. But the thing that I'm concerned about is January, when all this started happening, and now we've got all this happening in our county. So I guess I spent my time just trying to keep my husband alive. You know, that means a lot to me. But the other thing that means a lot to me is water. I was raised in this country. We have no water. We have no water. Every time we have a fire, cut back on the water. We cut back on the water. Every other year, you can water every other year, and Amarillo has a real problem about it. So, why wasn't this done where there's water? We've got the wind terminals, which have destroyed our ecosystem. Then I hear about solar farms going in on our land. On our land? Y'all driven down 287 going to Wichita Falls, you can see those solar farms. Ugly, destroyed land. We have no land anymore. Now, water. Why wasn't this built out in the ocean? And then y'all come back with your intelligence and make it desalt the water. As far as AI, we all know AI. I don't understand it all. But Lord have mercy, I've got grandbabies who are intelligent. And they're trying to stay. I'm 80 years old. I go to them. So, why wasn't that done? Because we have flat land, so we're going to destroy what God's given us in this county, Armstrong County. That doesn't make sense to me. I can't get my brain wrapped around this happening in our county. I mean, why? If somebody could tell me why. I understand, Tech owns the land, good for them, that's great, and whoever. But this is our country, this is our county that we love. Where's the water? We've all been told, no water. Now all of a sudden, we have water, and we're gonna use backwater? No, that's not gonna happen, but a year or so, and then it'll be, let's go down and dig. We can't even water our lawns half the time. And then when the prairie fires start, then what? And we will have fires. And we all know we're going to have fires. We just finished fire with Fridge. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Anyone else? I would like, Scott, if you would, just to highlight the abatement process. You've worked on many, many abatements. I think there's a question here, why you need more information out?
Okay.
That is,
Yeah.
you know.
First off, I appreciate everybody being here.
This is Scott Sherwood. by the
Yeah,
way.
I'm Scott Sherwood. I appreciate you being here. I probably worked on, 25 abatements over the years. A lot of them in Carson County. Carson County's done tax abatements, so if you think this is something new, it's not. And, it's a process that, in Castro's Cuba and Iraq, they don't have to have a worry about the public showing up and getting to have their input and their say. And I understand the frustration that you think there may be a lack of transparency. I'll tell you, everything that's required, this group of men have done. Like the judge said, we first heard about it in May. I maybe didn't really hear much more about it till June. They came to us about an abatement, and we've gone through the postings required to do that. Of all the other abatements we've worked on in Carson County, and I have no idea how many that is, total, we might have had 2 people show up. And all these wind projects you see that you talked about and all that, all those were tax abatements. Okay? And a tax abatement is not a free ride. What it is, it's an economic development tool. It's one of the few that a county in Texas can do. And what it is, it's a horse trade. It's that incentive to maybe get a project here like we first did with the wind. That people could use their land. Everybody talks about our land. Well, it's those landowners' land. It's guys like Lance Williams back here. It's his land. He can do with it what he wants to. Carson County has no say over what he does with his land, just like Texas land. He wants to drill a well. That's his deal with the water district. The county doesn't regulate that. He wants to put up a new barn for his tractors. That's his deal. Carson County doesn't have a say with that. That's, part of going back all the way to 1836, and Texas independent mind is county's authority is really restricted. We can only do what the legislature says we can do. And we don't do, the county doesn't do zoning. We don't tell people what they can do as far as developing their land as a subdivision. County doesn't do any of that. But let me just talk about a little bit about the abatement process. And I'm going to give this my little talk that some of you have heard before, but it's a economic development in Texas through an abatement is a partnership. Texas landowners. In this case, it's Texas Tech. We don't have a say on that. That's Texas Tech on their lease deal. It takes things like landowners, developers like Fermi, all their suppliers, people like a county commissioner's court, working together for economic development. All folks from Amarillo, I understand your concern and I appreciate it, but we don't have near the opportunities in Carson County as that you have in Potter, in Amarillo. So we look to different things. We look at like wind farm and that kind of thing. And I'm not going to be the guy deciding whether they get an abatement or not. They are. But there's a process that we went through after they submitted their application in July that we posted to create a reinvestment zone. That's an area that says the county can consider abatements in tax abatements, economic development incentives in those areas. Then we went through, and the county approved that, a reinvestment zone. Reinvestment zone doesn't say you have to do a tax abatement. Doesn't say they have to build a project. Next step was working out the terms of the abatement. Okay, and granted, up till today, if it's approved, all of that is not for public information. I'll just tell you, it's not. It's still attorney work product. And their lawyers and us have been working on that, but I'm going to tell you the terms. One of you talked about if they ought to buy that land for $175 million, if it was $30,000 an acre. Let me tell you what this is worth to Carson County, economic development. If it's jobs, there's a job requirement in this thing. If they build everything that they've said, they will pay a two-part abatement. It's based on the megawatts they build First, and we divvied this up into phases, because they don't go out and build millions of square feet of data center on day one. We divvied this up into phases. And as they add, and part of that phase is data centers, part of that phase is power generation. First, phase, they would pay $2,500 a megawatt bill payment. That's payment in lieu of taxes. Yeah, they get their taxes abated, but they pay, it's not a freebie, they pay in lieu of taxes $2,500 a megawatt. So if they build 1 megawatt, or if they build 1 gigawatt, at first, they're gonna pay on that rate. All the other phases, they pay an abatement of $2,750 a megawatt. For the data centers, they pay $3 a square foot for a data center to get those taxes abated. Yep, it's billions of dollars. But what is that worth to Carson County? You talked about $175 million. If they build everything that they've come to us on, which some of you have pointed out, you know, nuclear reactors we don't control, that's NRC. Groundwater we don't control, that's landowners in the groundwater district, that kind of thing. If they build everything they say over about a 14-year period, it's $845 million to Carson County. $845 million to the county. After each one of these 10-year abatement periods, we can't, somebody said something about a 50-year abatement. We can only abate it for 10 years. So each phase would be abated for 10 years. After it comes off abatement, whatever was built in phase, whatever 1 or 5 or 6, comes on at the value of that property at that point in time, after the 10-year abatement period for that particular asset they put on, data center or power generation. So if they build everything, it's about $845 million over about and I don't know, what do we collect now a year in property taxes, Judge? $5 million a year right now. So is it an economic deal for Carson County? Absolutely. Absolutely. The likes of which we've never seen. Maybe Potter County has, because you've got power plants, you've got beef plants, you got another one coming in, you've got, you know, a lot more opportunities than we have. They've got a job creation requirement in that, more than the 20. I believe it's, if I remember right, it's 40 jobs per phase. So quite a few permanent jobs, not counting any of the construction stuff. Legit concern was raised about what about, they're already starting building. Anything they built before today, they're gonna have to give us a list of. That's not abated. It's just not. What's abated only happens if it's approved today forward. And then for that abatement, they make the payment in lieu of taxes that you'll hear called pilot or PILT. It's called pilot now. When I first started working on it 25 years ago, it was PILT, so I still call it that. But, okay, the issue on the Texas Natural Resources Code issue, the 311611. That comes up in a situation where the state, the GLO, and I'll just tell you, I don't know if this falls under that because it's tech land, it's not state land. I know Texas State Agency and all that, but the way the statute's written very narrowly, it may not do. But it's also a permissive statute where the state may notify the county, and then the county can express objections based on zoning requirements And, subdivision requirements. We don't have any of that in Carson County. We don't have any zoning or subdivision things, so it may be something, that the county really wouldn't have a say on. But like I said, that, water, waste treatment, waste treatment process in Texas is, determined by the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, not the county. Water is regulated. Is Brittany here? From the
No,
water
she was
district?
not
Okay.
able to make it today.
Okay, all right. She's been at all the other meetings we've had, and we've had other hearings on this. Brittany from the water district, and, Fermi's gotta comply with the water just like a farmer does. Water restrictions that the water district has, the farmer, the city of Panhandle, the city of Amarillo. All this 2.5 million gallons that you're talking about, Fermi buying, the city of Amarillo is using right now. It's coming from Carson County. Out here northwest of town, the city of Amarillo owns quite a bit of water rights. And guess what? They're pumping it right now. Huh? And it's coming from Roberts County through the Cremwell line. So that water is not really new water. Now, granted, it's gotta be made up somewhere else, but it's coming from Carson County. That water, and it was pumped today, yesterday, a year ago, and 15 years ago. That same amount of water, about 1,700 gallons a minute. So, that's my little bit about, okay, somebody raised a good question about decontamination. Again, the county doesn't have a say on that. That's gonna be between the NRC and Fermi, years down the road. I know the court's got a lot of other things to do today, and this subject will actually be later, and if the court wants me to say something later, I will. But, like I said again, I appreciate you being here, because we hadn't had this turnout before, and, ever. But, I don't know, if the court wants me later, I'll be here, but, thank you for coming, I appreciate it.
One last chance. I will say this is, I'm trying to think, it is the 4th or 5th time we've had this subject, basically, on our agenda.
Yes, sir.
And I think the biggest turnout we've had was 5 people interested.
Yeah.
Outside of Commissioner's Court. But that's okay. We appreciate you being here today. And, we're gonna go ahead and proceed. On our agenda, we've got some business to do. If you would like to leave, come back, to the restroom, anything like that, that's fine. We're gonna continue on. At some point towards the end, we're gonna go into executive session. We're gonna meet over here in the judge's courtroom over here. Judge's room over here, and we'll go into executive session. But there's some other people here from Park Hill, who is the engineering group on this. If you guys want to ask any of those guys questions from Fermi, they'll be here to help this with. All right? All right. Next item on our agenda is the minutes of the October 14th Commissioners Court meeting. Do I hear any action on that? Everything's recorded, so we'll make sure we can hear it. Moved by Commissioner Howe, second by Commissioner Lanier, to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. claims, invoices, commissary. You should have a list of those in your book.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims invoice.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Lanier, second by Commissioner Griffin, to approve the claims and invoices. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Item 6, new generator for the courthouse. As you can see in your bid packet, there is a bid there for $60,000, $480.10 for a new generator. This will be funds from, AIP funds that we have. We have some left in our AIP grant that we need to expend. And, I just need approval of this for discussion.
Motion to approve purchase this generator.
Moved by Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner Howell to approve the generator purchase for the courthouse. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed. Item 7, canvassing of the November 4th, 2025 constitutional amendment election. Ms. Shelley Grant.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So we needed to discuss a date to canvass for the November 4th constitutional amendment election, and the first day we can do it is the 10th of November. The last day we can do it is the 17th of November. I am requesting either 12, 13, 14, 17. And
I think I am good any day that week. We check one more calendar. The 11th is Veterans Day, so that's a holiday, right? So it'd be 12, 13, or 14.
there was 17th, I don't know.
What do you say, 12? Wednesday. He's looking at him. Wednesday, 12, 30? That work for you? All right, we'll make sure we have
Wednesday or 12th.
we need 3 from Commissioner's Court to be there, right? Correct. We'll make sure. So I'll make a motion to have it Wednesday the 12th, 30 for canvassing.
I'll second the motion.
And a second by Commissioner Lanier. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed. Okay. Item A should be in your packet, a list of, we are purchasing 20 radios from Amarillo, actually, Carson County. He actually did all the purchasing, they're really nice radios, 20 of them, we got a really good price, also gonna be paid by AIP, for about $2,000 each. These radios are typically about $8,000 each. There's a list in your packet about how we're going to disperse them to various volunteer fire departments, EMS, and sheriff's office.
We approve.
Moved by Commissioner Howell, second by Commissioner Martin to approve the purchase radios, radio purchases. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed, second. Motion passed. Item 9, housing renewal contract. Sheriff Pantex.
Yes, sir. As y'all are aware, we have a housing contract with both Armstrong and Gray County, where we house some of the inmates. Haven't housed in Gray County a while, however, they got full plus 10 over resigned to take a position with Texas Department of Criminal Justice. She's supposed to be on October third. Prior to that, and then our friends at the city, hired one of my dispatchers, which caused me to take a deputy off the street to fill that position with a case there. October the 10th, to take the position as a paramedic with Pantex. I had hired a gentleman, his name is Fred Bayer, closer to my age than a teenager, which I'm pleased with. And he came to work on October the 15th, and his starting salary is set. I need to approve that as $41,800 a year, combined base salary. Also, Victoria, Winder completed, has been with me for 2 years. Takes a while to get this done, but on October the 9th, she completed her telecommunications, and I have the documentation. So we need to approve her, I think, by the end of November to get that $3,000 bump in pay for you to go certified.
Chairman, speak, sir.
Moved by Commissioner Barton, seconded by Commissioner Britton to approve law enforcement personnel. Thank you, sir. Oh, all in favor, say aye. All opposed. All right. Item 11 is a precinct 2 equipment purchase. Mr. Martin.
I purchased a tractor called a JCB tractor, it's kind of an industrial type tractor, and we've got it out there at the shop, we're working on it a little bit, but everything seems to be running good on it, and, for the money that was worth having, it's a little different than a farm tractor, but it still will pull all the equipment that I have, and as a commissioner, rollers, and it'll pull the blade, plow that we have, that we use to get the weeds killed on the edge of the roads and all that, and, I just think it's a pretty good deal for a lot less than what some of these other tractors cost, but I think it's gonna work out real well for
And
us.
$25,000 is the purchase price.
Total, yes.
I'll make a motion to approve precinct two's purchase of the tractor.
Second. Motion made by Commissioner Lanier and seconded by Commissioner Barton to approve this purchase of precinct 2. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 12, it is 11:05, and we will be adjourned into executive session. We shall reconvene for consideration of item 13, abatement agreement with Fermi Is, LLC. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the abatement agreement as proposed, subject to any requirements of chapter 31 of the Texas Natural Resources.
I'll second.
Moved by Commissioner Howard, seconded by Commissioner Barton. Now we're open for discussion. I'll even take any discussion within reason, I guess, from the public, if you so have. Yes, sir.
Do I need to come up or?
Yes.
Talk from here?
I'll try to make, as long as you make it brief.
Fifteen minutes. Can you just give us a summary, like, can you give a bullet point of any additional details to the gentleman that spoke earlier? Can you give us, can I get a copy of it, if you guys are gonna?
You can have a copy of it when all parties have signed it.
That would be today.
Could be.
Okay.
I'm not sure what all parties are here that could sign it, but yes, if it's passed, all parties sign it, yes. And it will be on the webpage, on the Carson County webpage. I think we have 7 days to have it posted on our webpage, which we'll probably have before 7 days. But,
Now, I'd just like to hear from you guys, you guys are elected, and just from your, you don't have to be the rocket scientist guy, I'm not, just why you decided it's a good deal just charge the same that we ask all the citizens to pay property taxes? Cause everybody said, every year you gotta write that check, and we all gripe about it. And can you tell us why it's okay to give somebody, it's probably a better deal than just paying straight up property taxes? And how do you justify that to the citizens that we pay $5 million, I think that was the number, that you guys collect $5 million in taxes a year? How you, and I'm not saying you're wrong by any means, I just wanna hear it come from your heart of why it's okay to do a different deal than what you ask citizens to pay. And I hope you, I'm not here to be adverse to you guys at all, and,
I understand.
appreciate you guys, doing what you do.
And, you know, the main question is, you know, why do abatement, right?
Well, what made you decide today and in a different deal than what you ask taxpayers to pay for their appraisals versus doing the megawatt by megawatt and by square feet? When you ask a person to pay based on their property values versus you're giving them, what if we just said, pay by how many people live in the house? That's a better deal, right? And so why not give them a better deal?
We don't, I guess we don't give to cite some of that stuff. I mean, I could say, you know, state legislature wouldn't let me say, well, we'll just pay by.
Sure.
But I will say this agreement, why it's probably a little bit more complex. We've done, like I said, probably even a dozen in Carson County. Last month were some windmills, you know, the wind generators we've done. So we've done abatement agreements. Well, it is an economic development. One of a lot of reasons why you do an abatement agreement. One reason is to have an agreement up front that we're not going to argue. So as you said the local landowners or whoever have the right every year to come and approach the appraisal district about their appraisals and have a review board. That takes a long process. This takes that away. This actually is an agreement of how much money we're gonna get, when we're gonna get it. It's got very defined lines. It's got, as we said, discussed earlier, we have things in this agreement that talks about trash, noise pollution. There's agreements, portions in here that address safety issues, EMS and fire. There's portions of this agreement that covers, and it's 40 pages long or something like that. It pretty much covers everything. So we are not arguing about this every year with the owners about what their value is. Besides, there's probably not even too many people in the United States. We have a problem with the transmission line, trying to get somebody to even properly appraise it.
To understand what that is worth. And that makes sense now. You guys, if you have said just what he said, some of us might not be here right now. I mean, just understanding what you just said makes it a lot different. And it totally, and that makes a lot of sense. Guys, just make it sense, just make sense of some stuff. Just plain like this guy, Sizemore, he could hang out with you.
He used to raise hogs, he's been in the pens, you know, and at least from my standpoint.
What about, like, you don't have to agree, because they're already building, they're not going anywhere. Why give them an abatement after they've already started building?
Because we've done our due diligence, we've asked the industry, especially the hyperscalers, the people we're going to market to, they wouldn't come unless they get a abatement agreement. There's just no way.
But they're already here, they're already here.
No, hyperscalers are not here, and they're not building anything out there at the moment, and they, you know, they're talking about $59 billion. They can shut it off right now, and have done it down south in many places. They've shut it off and lost millions of dollars on the project. And say, we can't get something right. There's a project down in Temple I read about, they lost $70 million because they built the wrong building. Because of now the closed loop system. So they had the building built for a different system. They tore the whole building out, lost $70 million. That is a lot of money, and I understand, but we want, why, like I said, like why we do the abatement. If we did not do an abatement, then we're gonna argue about this every year, and it's gonna go in the
Sure,
court. It's
you
gonna
probably
take
imagine
2
doing that
years
every
or
year.
later, yes.
I do that every year. Now, gentlemen, I'm sorry.
Maybe.
Yeah, so what's your name?
Scott.
Scott, okay. Did you mention, was it 85 million, or what was the number? Something, how much money it would equate to?
If they build everything, which that our agreement, proposed agreement for the court doesn't say they have to build it, you know, but if they build everything they proposed, would be 845 million, they would pay.
Over the line.
Oh, no, not over the life, over the 10-year abatement period. And then it would come on the regular tax roll. It's, the life of an abatement is only 10 years. But they would pay 845 million in payments in lieu of taxes. That's what they would still pay without it being taxes. Another reason you do an abatement is the massive financial institutions that back these things and give you the money for doing all the construction, they like to have a flat payment. Okay? That's just one more cost they know's fixed for 10 years. And it's not, oh, well, the tax amount went up, it went down, it went up, it went down. And it makes it easier for these guys to finance a project if it's a flat level. The other reason you do an abatement is it keeps you from doing what I call wrecking your tax rate. And there's another county judge here that may want to talk about that, about how, you know, if this came on at $1 billion or $10 billion the first year, the tax rate plummets. Here, we've got time to adjust to it as the value comes down, but we're still, the county is still getting lots of money.
That makes sense.
Lots of money before we get the hammer on what it can do to your effective tax rate calculations when they reset your taxes every year. So it's biggest reasons, economic development tool. It gives an incentive for like the hyperscalers, and we've met with them, okay? The economic development tool, it lets you plan your tax rate to where it's not just a total shock to the system, and it helps, it gives everybody just one more known per abatement section, per 10-year abatement, it's a known quantity instead of going
up and down.
Up and down. And the problem is when it goes down, I'm not saying this is a bad thing, what the legislature did, but from a county finance standpoint, it is. If it drops down to the 100,000th of a cent, your tax rate, well, the legislature said, if we had an emergency or something and needed to raise taxes, they're gonna go up 3.5%. Well, 3.5% of a fraction of a cent isn't very much.
So if this place all of a sudden disappears, and you gotta go up to meet that need.
Yeah.
You can only go up 30%. So then you got a huge problem.
Right. And this lets you rat hole
sure
some of that
more
money.
Just at even.
It levels you out over the years, and over the years of doing these things, talking to the international banking companies, they can walk away from financing projects on wind or solar or whatever if they don't see that level.
Maybe cartel.
Yeah.
May I ask about water? May I ask a question?
That's not part of the agenda. The agenda is the abatement, and we are not doing water. You know, that's City of Amarillo, I understand that.
But a lot of your people want to know about water. Who want to know about water?
But they've got to go with their numbers, those are the people you're.
And it's something, it's a friendly question.
Yes,
Well, I
understand.
understand, and we're concerned about water too, and I'm not saying we're not. I'm just saying that we have to stick to the Open Meetings Act, which is
Sure.
the agenda item.
I was gonna ask
Agenda
them.
item is the abatement. We can ask them after, that's fine. We're gonna stick around, we're all probably stick around, hopefully we'll get lunch someday. But, yeah.
But you're here to talk about an agreement that could, that in turn, there's an indirect connection or direct connection to water. So the contract is about abatement, about a company that's gonna use water, so I mean, we really could talk about water, because it's, even though it doesn't say water in there, it's a company that's gonna use water, so it really is. I'm not trying to argue with you, it wasn't an adverse, it was more something to help ease maybe some people's minds, if they're gonna use, everybody's scared of water, everyone's been selling this deal, every drop counts, but now all of a sudden it doesn't matter. And I think what we're worried about is, in eastern New Mexico, they're running a pipeline from Ute Lake to eastern New Mexico, because they're running out of water, so we have a bowl under the panhandle. Eastern New Mexico's on the edge, the shallowest part, so they're starting to drop. I just wanna know, is there a contingency plan, if our bowl gets lower where they're pulling up water, to ease your citizens, your panhandle citizens' minds also?
Our citizens and our farmers and our municipalities have all worked under the same rules with the Panhandle Groundwater District that they've developed. All City of Amarillo works on those rules, because they got the large amount of water rights in Carson County. I think we're confident, but I know I am, that they're watching that situation. What the City of Amarillo though, how they sell water to, how many different industries in Amarillo do they sell water? How much do they sell to Tyson? How much do they say? They sell, I think it's 4 million, I think is what the mayor said, I don't, to Excel. 5 million to Excel. They sell.
At what point
they
do we keep just letting people dip straws in? At what point do we say, hey man, there's a lot of straws dipping in this water? And so at some point, people need to speak up, and if they're losing water in eastern New Mexico, and they're having to build that pipeline probably just kicked off, I think, last week. And it's drying up over there, so something's dropping. The thing is, I'll just be quick, I understand what you said, I'm not trying to disrespect you guys, I'm not trying to be adverse. Is there a contingency plan if that water levels starts dropping? Is there some sort of contingency plan to maybe buy some of you lakes water? Maybe, is there some other plan in case people's farms start drying up? Is there a contingency plan? Is there some other, I know you're talking about the air cool deal, if that doesn't work out, what do we do? Is there, if you guys could come up with a deal with U Lake, pay them some kind of fee every year to say, you gotta release water if we get to a certain level, or if something, if these farmers' wells start drying up. I think everybody would appreciate that, and I think that's the main concern, is the water. That's the biggest concern. No water, no people.
Yep.
Thanks for your time, thanks for listening to me, I appreciate you. You guys have a well-run city, I'm pretty impressed, I'm gonna move over.
But we've had those discussions, and I'm, you know, it's like anything, they probably cannot afford to buy fresh water at 100 million gallons a day, or whatever. You know, there's gonna be a price point. They've got to use, and they've told us, and they've shown us some ideas about using brackish water, using all kinds of water. They're gonna use, I really think they're gonna try to use every bit of water, and they're going to just because of the economics of it. You know, fresh water probably isn't the best thing to try to use, it's just because it's easily available. Yes, there's a lot of runoff water that they can use, there's retention ponds, there's a lot of, but like I said, I appreciate it.
Thanks for your time.
All right. All right, any other discussion? I have a motion by Commissioner Howell, second by Commissioner Martin to approve the abatement. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passed. All right. Item 14, letter of no objection to the application of the Sunzone designation of the Ford Trade Zone. I'll make the motion that we pass the resolution or the letter, I have it already prepared, to send to the Ford Trade Zone Committee forward, once the abatement agreement is signed by all parties. Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion.
Moved and seconded to approve the letter of no objection for the application of the subzone designation of FTZ. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Last but not least, I'm announcing today that I am going to appoint Mr. Trent Taylor to serve as the next commissioner of Precinct 4, starting November 1st, or as soon as we can get you sworn in after that. Where I'm having a little bank troubles on that,
A little discussion on that, please. I just wanna publicly say thanks to Kevin Howe for all these years. I know this is his last involvement with me, and maybe one stuck around a little bit longer than he continued, but, I appreciate him and everything he's done. I'll say this, we might butt heads, but we were always agree.
Or if you're playing that.
Thank everyone for coming and your comments. Really good.